Welcome to the Emerson Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Marietta, Georgia, a mouthful if there ever was one. And my name is Michael Myers, and I am your worship associate this morning. And if you're joining us for the first time this morning, good morning. Today is our annual celebration of stewardship. Each year we gather together in worship and then share lunch and our visions for a future of Emerson. Please join us. And I hope we have not a lot of people who miss daylight savings, so they're an hour late. So, whoever you are, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, wherever you were born, whatever your language you speak, you are welcome here. Whatever your skin color, whatever your class, background, whatever your range of abilities, you are welcome here. We are so glad that you chose our congregation as your place of worship this morning. We come together for worship in order to slow down and listen to the calling of our hearts, our spirits. We come together for worship so that we can remind our highest aspirations and continue to transform ourselves into our better selves. Our chalice lighting, that's it. Don't have the name this morning. It's right there. Our chalice lighter this morning is Cora Jean-Pierre. Okay. Now we pause to light our chalice as a symbol of our shared Unitarian faith with these words adapted from the work of Reverend Elizabeth M. Strong. Today we celebrate a dream awakening. Today we worship with renewed hope in our hearts. Today we act on an audacity of hopes and dreams for the future. Today we begin the hard work for justice, equality, and compassion in our human relations. For today is the day like no other. It is ours to shape with vision and action. Let us celebrate a dream awakening. Thank you. In the spirit of love and beloved community, let's share our congregational affirmation. We need not think alike to love alike. Today we invite you to greet your neighbor with a warm welcome. Take a moment to turn to your left and to your right and offer a greeting of love and welcome.
That wasn't very good. We're going to sing an opening hymn in a moment that is very short, but very poignant. They are the words of the Unitarian minister from 100 years ago, the Transcendentalist Theodore Parker. He writes, "Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple, all space, its shrine, the good heart, its creed, all truth, and its ritual, works of love." Rise in body or in spirit or voice, and let's sing together number 1058, Be Ours a Religion, and we're going to repeat it twice.
Be ours a religion. Good morning, all. I'm Susan Ullman, a 10-year member of our pastoral care team here, and I'm honored to be a member. Let's pause. Michael, we're going to have Cora do the stones today, please. Yes, Cora, would you come up, please, and do the stones? Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Let's pause and reflect on matters of the heart for ourselves. Thank you, Cora, for placing the stones today. For this morning's ritual, we have water and we have river stones. The stones are smooth and they have weight. They're indicative of life's pleasures and life's times of ease. And they're life's burdens and times of heaviness, too. They're indicative of that. The water received these stones with ease and with calmness. Each week, you're invited to write a joy, sorrow, or concern statement in this book. And it's usually on the clear podium out there. Sometimes it's in here, sometimes it's out there. Or email it to pastoralcare@emersonuu.org to be read at this time during the service. If you're online, we ask you, please recreate this at home. Place a stone and a bowl of water nearby to honor what's in your heart. Cora, let's begin by placing 3 stones. The first one in honor of the Cherokee and Muskogee nations of indigenous people who lived here before us. And the second for those wrongly enslaved here who labored on this land. And the third for all those hurting in current conflicts and wars that rage across our globe. Now, within our community, we have several statements people are sharing. Greg and Claudia Hebert share, they're thrilled to announce their oldest child, Emily, who was diagnosed with a serious cancer in 2019, has been free of this disease for 6 years. And no longer requires monitoring. Yippee, she says. Yippee. Yes, absolutely. From Debbie Ballou, my firstborn, Emery Colvin, successfully defended their dissertation on nuclear engineering at Oregon State University. Wow. And one poignant one from Reverend Christina. Believe it or not, this week is the 5-year anniversary of the COVID lockdown. I remember 2 friends who died during the pandemic. And thankful awareness. Let's say the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness. Please read the words with me. They're on the screen. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be at peace. Blessed be.
One way we put our prayer of loving kindness into action is by partnering with other organizations who work to bring love, kindness, and justice into the world. Our Share the Basket partner for March is the Must Ministries breakfast program for Hope House clients in Marietta. Because of the number of unhoused people has risen and become food more expensive, we have chosen 5 Sunday a month in hopes that we can raise enough funds for the whole year. Must Ministries serves breakfast daily for clients at the Must Hope House in Marietta. Emerson volunteers cook and serve breakfast once a month, every second Monday, plus Thanksgiving and Christmas. Bringing groceries and starting cooking at 5:30 in the morning to serve at 6:30. We plan for 75 breakfasts when possible, have an additional 30 for those waiting outside. Please let Mark Cobb know if you would like to help with the program. Our partnership with Must Ministries to fight food insecurity is a great way to serve our community. Please give generously to keep this program going. The basket will now be passed. For those in the sanctuary, as the basket is passed, please feel free to offer a donation. See a card in the basket for other ways to give. For those online, go to emersonuu.org and select the Giving tab to donate. All donations, unless otherwise specified, are shared equally between Emerson and our partner organization. Thank you.
There we go. So as they're finished with the basket, let's go ahead and get ready for a story for all ages. So with the young and the young at heart, please join us down here for a story for all ages. It's a week early, but we are having a story about a leprechaun. That's why I'm wearing green today. All right, so you guys got up early today. I'm glad to see you're here. Thank you for joining me for this story. And thanks, Michael, for helping me out. This story today is called Fergus Flowers. Sean and Declan's grandmother traveled to Ireland every year. She would roam the forest and countryside there, hoping to see a leprechaun. But so far, she had not. Oh, well, maybe next year, she would say. The boys were very excited because she had just returned from her trip and always brought them gifts. But when she searched for their gifts, she realized she had left them behind. Oh, well, it can't be helped, she said. But I do have 2 packs of Irish wildflower seeds. I was going to plant them in my garden, but you can each have one. Seeds, they said, blinking at each other. What will we do with these? Well, find a sunny spot in your backyard and plant them. Seeds are filled with potential, and if you take good care of them, you'll have fine wild Irish wildflowers before you know it. If you don't take care of them, though, you may be disappointed. Sorry, that's all I have for you this time. I must have left the other gifts back in Ireland. She shrugged because she wasn't sure the boys would think much of getting seeds as a gift. So, the next day, the brothers went out to a far corner of their backyard where there was only one big oak tree and some open bare spots that got a lot of sun. They each chose a big circular spot on either side of the tree, cleared the weeds, and loosened the soil with shovels and rakes. They took breaks once in a while, resting against the big oak tree and enjoying the shade. They sprinkled the seeds into the soft soil, patted them in, and watered them. When will they look like this? Sean said, looking at the seed envelope that said Fergus Flowers, with a picture showing a huge variety of colorful blooms. It'll be a while, I suppose, but I guess that's it for now. It'll be great when they come up, Declan said. The next day, Declan went out in the morning to water his seeds, but Sean didn't. Over the next few days, Declan went out into his garden every day to water the seeds and to make sure no sticks had fallen on them or any animals had dug them up. He also started saving kitchen scraps and began a compost pile. When my flowers start growing, I'll have compost to put on them to help them grow, he thought. Sean watered his sometimes, but sometimes he forgot. After a week had gone by, Declan saw little green sprouts coming up from his garden. Sean's was still bare. After another week, Declan's sprouts had doubled in height, while Sean's garden was looking sad. The grass was starting to creep into it, and the soil looked dry. Declan continued to go out every day to tend to his flowers, which were starting to bud. There were early spring poppies that looked like they would bloom soon, and the other flowers that would bloom in early or midsummer were much smaller, but would grow in time. By now, Sean's garden only had dandelions and crabgrass in it. He had been forgetting all about his garden. "I'll get back out there," he kept saying, but he almost never did. When he did go out there, he looked at his dry, weedy garden, and then at Declan's and started to get jealous. "Oh, well, he won't mind if I just take some of his flowers. He has so many," he decided, and dug up some of his poppies and summer flowers that filled Declan's happy garden and transferred them to his own. The next morning, he went out to see his garden and was sad to see just the same dandelions and crabgrass, while Declan's garden looked better than ever. "Hey, what happened to my flowers?" he said. He got a shovel and moved them again. The next day, however, they all seemed to be back where they started. He fell against the oak tree, exasperated. "Oh, gosh, I've worked so hard to have a nice garden. What have I done wrong?" "Well," said a mysterious voice, "for one thing, you never took care of your seeds or your garden. You just stole plants from your brother." "Who said that?" he said, looking around. And there, poking his head out of the hollow at the base of the oak tree, was a short man in all green with a top hat and a bright red beard. "Well, that would be me, of course," said the little man, who happened to be a leprechaun. "The name's Fergus." "Where did you come from?" Sean said, amazed. "Well, Ireland, of course. Where do you think?" "Well, how did you get here?" "Well, through the oak tree, don't you know? Oak trees are magical. This one's very nice, by the way, and leprechauns can use them to get wherever they like. These seeds came from my garden, and I knew they had come to you boys, and I've been watching your progress." "You have?" "Indeed I have, and you, sir, are not a very good gardener. If you expect seeds to grow, they must be given love. And 'tis no fair stealing Declan's flowers. If you do that again, you can be sure old Fergus will just keep putting them back." And he disappeared into the little hollow at the base of the tree and was gone. Sean wondered if he had imagined the little man. "Maybe I fell asleep against the oak tree and dreamed him." No, it's not a bag, it's a little stump of tree. "Maybe I fell asleep against the oak tree and dreamed him." But he thought about what he had said. "I guess it was wrong to take Declan's plants. Maybe it's not too late to take care of my own garden." And he went right away to pulling the weeds and watering. Within a week, Sean's garden started looking much better. His poppies were a little late, and the summer flowers were much smaller, but they would grow in time. Sean was very happy to see his garden thriving along with his brothers. By summertime, there were all sorts of flowers blooming in both gardens. Declan shared his compost he had been making, and their gardens responded by blooming even more. They had all sorts of butterflies, hummingbirds, and dragonflies coming to their yard to visit their flowers. One day in late summer, both boys were resting against the oak tree when the leprechaun came back. There he is. "You boys have made me proud. Your gardens are beautiful. You've both worked so hard, you deserve it." "Fergus, you're back. I wondered if you were real," Sean said to the man. "Well, of course I'm real. And since you've done such a grand job taking care of those special seeds, I went and found the gifts your gran left behind." He disappeared back into the tree and came back holding an Irish flute and a little drum. The boys took the instruments in wonder. "If you play them for your flowers, they'll grow even better. I've seen to that." They found they could each play the instruments quite well and would stay under the shade of the oak tree and play their instruments every afternoon as the flowers would dance and open, adding even more color and beauty to their special gardens. The special music made the flowers spread, and by the end of summer, the two flower beds had grown so much they ran right into each other, into one big garden that had started with just 2 packs of seeds. Fergus came to visit them from time to time, and he always would say this: "Seeds are like friends that you haven't yet met. Just treat them right, and they'll grow, you can bet. Take the seeds that you have and plant them here. Give them water and time for a day or a year. The soil below feeds them, and the sun from above. But the best thing for seeds will always be love. All right, shall we sing our song of dedication?
I want to thank Jeffrey for writing and sharing that story. Thank you so much. I'm going to take a breath. It's been a busy, busy week. It's been a busy, busy month. And we all lost an hour of sleep, and we're all feeling a little sleepy, I bet. And the good thing about those who are coming late is they'll be here in time for lunch. I want to share in this time of prayer and meditation a blessing. This is inspired by the poetry of Jan Richardson. Spirit of life, may our prayers be sent out as blessings to the world. Now more than ever, let us be the ones who do not turn away. Let us be the ones who will go further into the wreck and deeper into the rubble. Let us be the ones who will enter into the places of devastation beyond belief and despair beyond our imagining, to create the love and embrace for what is needed. Let us be the ones who will give ourselves to bring to the world that which our heart envisions. May it be so. Let us share a moment of silence. Amen.
Good morning, everybody. Our anthem this morning is a sing-along, and you will find the lyrics on the back of your order of service. To kind of get it in your ears, Matthew and Peter will do it one time through, and then the choir will do it one more time through. And after that, you'll have it in your heads, and we'll do verses 1, 2, and 3 on the back of your page all together.
The seed that you have and plant it here, give water and time for a day or a year. Take the seed that you have and plant it here, give it love, give it love. Take the seed, give it love. Give it of me too. Give it love, give it love, give it love, give it love, give it love. Take the seed that you have and plant it here. Give it water and time for a day or a year. Take the seed that you have and plant it here. Give it love, 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 give it love. Take the seed that you have and plant it here. Give it water and time for a day or a year. Take the seed that you have and plant it here. Give it love, 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 give it love. Take the dream that you have and dream it here. Give it courage and time for a day or a year. Take the dream that you have and dream it here. Give it love, 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 give it love. Take the song that you have and sing it here. Give it strength and time for a day or a year. Take the song that you have and sing it here. Give it love, 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 give it
Here at Emerson, we are rooted in community. Emerson is a place where we can feel at home. A home where we can explore our individual theologies, we can create community, and we can bring more love to the world. Recent visitors and those who have joined have acknowledged that they are seeking a religious community in which to ground themselves. Excuse me, I think I need a glass of water. Cody, would you go get me a glass of water? Thank you. And a cough drop. As I sit down and have coffee with those who have come and visited us and joined us recently, what they said is in turbulent times, they have been feeling the need to be connected to others. They just don't want to be alone at this time. And Unitarian Universalism welcomes those who are seeking a religious community that is focused on who we are in the world, what we carry in our hearts, basically our deeds and not our creeds. Indeed, our faith is a relational faith. It is one based in covenant and our relationships with each other. Thank you so much. So many people have been wounded in the religious organizations that they might have grown up in or come from. May this place be a place of healing. Others come to Unitarian Universalism sometimes by doing that online test to say, what religion are you? How many of you have done that? I grew up Unitarian Universalist, but I did the test anyway because I just wanted to see if I was still in the right place. For those who have come here seeking a place to explore religion in a way that might be not about doctrine, but about action and about relationship, may this be a place where you find true companionship. May it be a place where we can explore that through trust and respect. As our affirmation says, we don't have to think alike to love alike. Each week, we work at learning how to be in community together. And in so doing, we ask questions. How is Unitarian Universalism different from other faith traditions? What values do we share? What does being part of a religious organization and a faith mean in the modern world when so many people are not going to a service on a Sunday morning? Instead, it's about sleeping in or maybe going to the park or even sitting online in isolation. Here we come for community. We are rooted in community. The answers to these questions do not have to be collective. We each have our own answers to this, and that is the beauty of Unitarian Universalism. We are different than each other, and we see each other's difference and respect that. As Jeffrey's story about the children so lovingly told, and the song we just sang, we plant seeds here that grow into possibilities. The possibilities of bringing more love and compassion and justice, not only into our own lives, but to the lives of all of us in our communities and into the world. We are called sometimes when things are happening in the world to side with love. Now, siding with love, working to bring more love to the world, is not something new for Unitarian Universalists. And our history is full of those who were exemplars of answering the call to confront injustice with love. It was 60 years ago today that Bloody Sunday happened. Now, for those of you who are young in the room, you might not know what I'm talking about. There was a time when there was a march for justice. And that march was greeted with people who didn't want the march to happen. And instead of letting the march happen across a bridge called the Edmund Pettus Bridge, the people who were the state troopers at the time beat the people and they became covered in blood. So it's called Bloody Sunday. Not a very pretty term, is it? And it's kind of a scary thought, but I'm going to tell a story about that. I don't know if you know that there was a call after the first march that was titled Bloody Sunday, that was crossing the bridge in Selma, Alabama. They were attempting to walk from Selma to Montgomery, the capital of Alabama, and instead they were thwarted from completing that march. Many were injured, some were killed, and our faith, then and now, envisioned a world where all could thrive. And specifically, this was in the civil rights movement, where people were working to bring voting rights to the Black community. We all dream of a world where our children and everyone's children can live joyfully and abundantly. On March 7th, a Unitarian Universalist minister, James Reeb, and his wife watched television coverage of that event. The police were attacking the demonstrators in Selma, and there was a telegram sent out the next morning, specifically at 4:27 in the morning, from Martin Luther King to all the headquarters of the denominations in the country. As it was received at the Unitarian Universalist Association headquarters, the messages started going out, phone calls were happening. This was way before the internet, of course. And all the ministers of our denomination received the message. It was a call to clergy to join in Selma in 2 days' time, a very quick time to get from wherever you were around the country to Selma, Alabama. And James Reeb heard the call, and by 8 a.m. he had talked with his wife, they had 5 children, and he made a major decision to go. And he was headed on a plane south that night. Reeb wrote in a letter to the association office, "I couldn't just stand by." When people of diverse backgrounds and ideologies come together, what was impossible becomes possible. The amazing thing is Reverend Reeb and 1/5 of all the Unitarian Universalist ministers in the country joined that day. They all traveled to Selma, and so did 300 members of the Unitarian Universalist denomination. So in total, there were 800 Unitarian Universalists as a part of this march of 3,000 people. That's a pretty big contingent. As they made their way to Selma, King was considering whether or not to disobey a pending court order saying that the second march, 2 days later, couldn't happen. And in the end, he decided to march, telling all the clergy and rabbis who had come, who had answered the call, and who gathered at Brown's Chapel. He said, "I would rather die on the highways of Alabama than make a butchery of my conscience." So he led the marchers to the front of the bridge. They crossed and then knelt in prayer. And then they rose and retreated and went back to Brown's Chapel. No violence. Several clergy decided to return after this symbolic demonstration, a demonstration that said, "We will move forward together." Reeb decided to stay in Selma until court permission could be obtained for a full-scale march, planned for the following days. That evening, Reverend Reeb and 2 other ministers, Reverend Orloff Miller and Reverend Clark Olson, dined at an integrated restaurant in Selma that the organizers used regularly as a place to gather. And the restaurant was kind of in the edge of town, and on their way back to Brown's Chapel after the meal, they took a wrong turn. And some angry white protesters attacked them. They were beaten and kicked and pushed to the ground, and Reeb was hit on the head with a pipe. While neither of the other two ministers had serious injuries, Reeb had a critical brain injury. It was several hours before he was admitted into the hospital where they tried to do emergency brain surgery. At the time, King and President Johnson heard of what had happened and called the hospital numerous times to check on how Reverend Reeb was doing. King said at the time in an announcement, lamenting the cowardly attack and asking all to pray for Reeb's protection. But unfortunately, Reeb died 2 days later. Countless Black activists and marchers were injured and even died during the years of the Civil Rights Movement and even on Bloody Sunday. But it was Reeb's death that then got televised and sent around the country. And tens of thousands of vigils happened in his honor. From that moment of Bloody Sunday and Reeb's death, President Johnson called Reeb's widow and father to express their condolences. And within a week, President Johnson invoked Reeb's memory when he delivered a draft of the Voting Rights Act to Congress. That same day, Martin Luther King gave the eulogy at Reeb's memorial service. King told the audience that Reeb symbolizes the forces of goodwill in our nation. He demonstrated the conscience of action. He was an attorney for the defense of the innocent in the court of world opinion. He was a witness to the truth that men of different races and classes might live and eat and work together as brothers. King continued, "Who killed James Reeb?" The answer is simple and rather limited of who we think was the killer. King said he was murdered by a few sick, demented, and misguided men who have a strange notion that you can express dissent through murder. There is another haunting, poignant, desperate question we are forced to ask this afternoon that I asked a few days ago as we funeralized James Jackson, a Black man who was also buried. The question is, what killed James Reeb? When we move from the who to the what, the blame is wide and the responsibility grows. James Reeb was murdered by the indifference of every minister in the gospel who had remained silent behind the safe security of stained glass windows. That's a powerful statement. King said he was murdered by the irrelevancy of a church that will stand amid social and civil and serve as a tail light rather than a headlight, an echo rather than a voice. He was murdered by the irresponsibility of every politician who has moved down the path of demagoguery, who has fed his constituents stale bread of hatred and the spoiled meats of racism. He was murdered by the brutality of every sheriff and law enforcement who practices lawlessness in the name of the law. Yes, he was even murdered by the cowardice of every person who tacitly accepts the evil system of segregation, who stands on the sidelines in the midst of a mighty struggle for justice. His closing statement was, James Reeb says something to each of us, black and white alike. He says that we must substitute courage for caution, so that we must be concerned not merely about Who murdered him but about the system, the way of life, the philosophy which produced this murder? His death says to us that we must work passionately, unrelentingly to make our American dream a reality, so that he did not die in vain. The rally of these words and this time is that a march that went from 3,000 people called tens of thousands of people into Selma. The march was over 30,000 strong and lasted 5 days. They marched quietly and peacefully and prayerfully across the Edmund Pettus Bridge from Selma to Montgomery. They slept on the side of the roads. They slept in people's houses. Cars carried those who were tired or injured, and they made it. Unfortunately, those who attacked Reeb were acquitted, but the Voting Rights Act passed soon after in August of that year. The civil rights movement depended on the words and the efforts of so many who formed a community. They were rooted in community. They contributed not only their time, their talent, their passion, but also their money, their homes, their churches. They made sandwiches. They supported each other. They took care of the children while people marched or spent nights in jail. They gave to the cause over and over again. And all of these kinds of things are what it takes to be rooted in community. We are in a time of history where we might be called to action ourselves. We might be called to speak out to love more, to be connected with each other more deeply, and to be rooted in this community so that we can be together to do that work side by side. As people keep coming through our doors to find us, to watch us on Zoom, and to continue to watch our services on YouTube, our channel has about 75 views a month for each service. We are making a statement, not only in Georgia, but specifically in Cobb County. We have a place here. We are rooted and we matter. We need to deepen our connections here and keep this place going. This is the time when our democracy at home and our alliances around the world are breaking down. We need each other. The world needs our shared values. Lisa Doge, a Reverend in Savannah, declares that we need to proclaim and live out our Unitarian Universalist values of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity, all connected by love. This is the time to plant our seeds of love and justice, to give them water and time, to tend them with all we have. We need each other, and Emerson needs you to be a part of this community. May the question be, what is the value of Emerson in your life for yourself, for your family, and for your children, and most of all, for this world? Today, as we gather and discuss the role that Emerson plays in your life, know that your pledge is a way to state your importance of Emerson in your life. We need each other. Let's make it so. Amen. Let's sing together the Fire of Commitment, which is number 1028 if you need a hymnal, and the words will be on the screen. Stand if you would like to, or sing loudly with your voice from your chair. If you have found freedom here, take it with you into the world. If you have found comfort here, and go share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may come true. If you have known love, give some back to this bruised and hurting world. May we send our love and gratitude outward into the silence. May we plant the seeds of love and justice everywhere we walk. Amen.
Cora. As our child's light is extinguished this morning, we extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of commitment, community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. Announcements, Michael and Douglas?
Sorry, it's a maze to get up here. It's a little bit of a... So, good morning. Today we're doing things a little different, as you know, and I am taking the RE kids with me right now. So, guys, listen up. I'm going to have you meet me in this hall right over here, because I've got something special for you to do, and then we'll go to class.
So I don't think we have very many other announcements, so we'll just move right on here. You know, when I was a kid, our television had 13 channels, but only 3 of them had something you could watch. If you wanted to catch a particular show, you had to be in front of the TV when it came on, because there was no such thing as a recording or streaming then. We didn't even think about that. Every Christmas season, my mother made sure I was in front of the TV when our favorite Christmas specials came on. My absolute favorite was then and still is A Charlie Brown Christmas, followed closely by How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Then there was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This special expanded on the classic Christmas song by telling the story of Rudolph running away from home, meeting Hermie, or sometimes Herbie, depends on who you ask, the elf, who dreams of being a dentist, and Yukon Cornelius, a prospector searching for the gold for 25 years. They eventually find themselves on this island of misfit toys, ruled by a benevolent winged lion, King Moonracer. King Moonracer cares for all of the misfit toys on the island until he can find homes for them with children who will love them despite their imperfections. I've often told Michael that Emerson feels like an island of misfit toys to me. It's a community of people like he and I who don't quite fit into the conventional spaces around Cobb and Cherokee County. We all come here seeking a place to call home, a place where we're loved and accepted just as we are. We are in search of a beloved community where we can feel safe, protected, and supported. However, unlike Rudolph's magical island where King Moonracer takes care of everything, our beloved community requires that we sustain it ourselves. To keep our community functioning, for ourselves and future misfits who may find us, we need financial support. We have bills to pay. The electricity, the water, fair wages for our staff, weekly activities for both youth and adults. As the vice president of the Board of Trustees, I often hear about things that need fixing. Usually, James Johns, the board member who is in charge of the building, will say something like this, go, X thing is broken, it's going to cost $2,000 to fix it. Then we all look at our treasurer, Eric Scow, and say, Eric, do we have $2,000 to fix it? Eric's usual answer is, well, I really long for the day when he can just go, yep. Today, we kick off our annual stewardship campaign. Many of you have been giving to Emerson for many years. With all the growth we've experienced in the last year, many of you are being asked for the first time to help support our beloved community. Whoever you are, and from whatever circumstances you come, and whatever your financial situation, we ask you to consider what your life would be like without Emerson, without our beloved community. We depend on our members and friends to support us in 3 ways: talent, time, and treasure. We're doing a great job in the first 2, but we could use a little more treasure, to be honest with you. So please, as you consider your pledge for the upcoming year, reach just a little deeper if you can. The reality is that 15 families provide approximately half of the annual budget. We recognize that not everyone is in the same financial position to give as generously, but we hope all of you will consider a pledge that will help sustain our beloved community, our little beautiful island of misfits, and help it continue to grow. And with that, I will turn the logistics over to Claudia.
Hello, I'm Claudia Hebert, and I'm the president of the congregation, of the Board of Trustees, I should say, and we will now move towards our stewardship portion of today's events. And people that are sitting in seats along the walls, if they could come and join us at tables. We have a whole empty table here, a whole empty table here. We will now do stewardship, and we are hoping to get this done by noon. So I'm asking the table leaders to join each of the tables. We are putting packets on the tables for all of you table leaders. Table leaders will help you go through this process. After we are done, you'll make your pledge, put it in the basket, take some candy, and then we will go into the fellowship hall. You can get your lunch, bring it back here, and we will eat in the sanctuary. If you have any questions, please let Douglas or me know. Thank you.